Yes, hello. This is Bug News, and today we're going to talk about the Karen Huger DUI arrests and some other issues associated with this. So, have you ever heard Karen Huger was charged with a DUI and I think a DWI recently? Um, First to break the news, I guess, to the world uh, may have been TMZ, and then they were reporting first initially they were reporting that there was some type of accident, and she had received citations, and then excuse me, somehow doing that, I think she gave a statement um, once it was found out that the she was charged with a DUI. Uh, People started to um, ask questions, but in particular when videos of the scene started to appear and pictures of the scene started to appear. And then, once it was, again, like I said before, once it was realized that she had a DUI, she released a statement, and she was saying something to the lines of, she was upset, and uh, she had drank and didn't realize. I'm just paraphrasing, but doing that whole thing, she also said that a car had had approached her, or was approaching her, and this is what kind of caused the accident. But if anyone looked at the street where the accident occurred, they will notice that she ran up over the medium. But how could a car approach you if there's a medium there? Okay, that's one thing to the story. The other thing is, if a car was approaching you, why did you? And you ran up over the medium. Excuse me. Why did you um, swerve right after you crossed the intersection? After you ran over the medium, you crossed the intersection, then you swerved towards the passenger side and hit the tree. Allegedly, right? Because none of this has, because so many stories out there now. One story is that, she was pulled over, and then the officer said she was reeking of alcohol. In addition to that, another story is um, something about the highway and excessive speeding. But as we go back, it's just her story doesn't line up to the way the road is. I guess that's what we're trying to say. But what what does a person face when they're immediately charged with a DUI in Maryland? So one thing that immediately happens is if you don't get arrested, well, she probably got arrested, or she probably at some point had to go down to the police station or whatever. But you got to turn your license in immediately. Then they'll give you this little piece of paper. You sign some forms, you get this piece of paper. So that's valid for like 45 days or something like that, unless you paid like an extension fee, from my understanding. Um, then at some point, you're going to have to get the interlock. And before that, you're going to have a, um, well, I take that back. um, while your license is suspended, or not suspended, you turn it in and get that little piece of paper. You have to carry that around, which is very inconvenient. Because, if you have to do any banking, anything, you don't have a second ID. Um, And then if you don't get the interlock right away, which you can get, then you get your license back and you have the ID. But all that costs money. And of course, she probably has the resources to do so, but that's like pretty much the first phase. Now, if we even backtrack even more, when people, I guess, on the show, when people were saying, she had a drinking problem and she had a driver. And then, if you remember the first season when they had the first home, they were kind of closer in than what they were. They were kind of like, I guess, the Bethesda area, off Democracy Boulevard. So if she was drinking and driving, then she didn't have as far as go as she did now. But this kind of explains a lot. And maybe, allegedly Ray knew that she had a problem, and she may have also, had an assistant and had people driving with her. And then when they sold the house because of tax problem, and they moved out to VA. All right, so they were kind of like where they were. They were kind of like out there, but off the beaten path. And maybe she wasn't drinking as much or whatever. Who knows? But this is all alleged. They only stayed out there for a short period of time, and then they moved back to Potomac. Well, not back to Potomac. They moved back to Maryland. But if we kind of like put the pieces together, we could kind of see that Ray may have been a little concerned, and maybe he was handling it different ways. Excuse me. And in addition to that, she even stated herself. She only when they moved to the current place, she went to the Safeway. She only hung out at the Safeway, and she was at home. So if she always had an assistant with her or something like, she may not have been driving. She might have been drinking, but she might have been driving. So, and then even on this season, I think she was like, sometimes she wasn't drinking; she was drinking water. So, but she said because maybe some illness or something. I don't know. Excuse me, I got a little cough here. But the show must go on. So, we tie all this together, and it was, and then we look at the time of the accident and when it happened. It wasn't, like at 9 o'clock, or at least when it was written up. It was at 11 at that time, and so that was pretty late. I mean, I think it was pretty late, but it was on a Tuesday night, and the road that she took to get to her house. So a lot of people might not know the area. Let's say if she came out of the city or came from downtown Bethesda or Rockville, that's kind of a dark. Once you get out of a certain area and get into Potomac, it's dark back there. So she was coming up a way that didn't have a lot of lights. That's what I'm trying to say. And in a way to get to her house, in a way that didn't have a lot of traffic on it. Because if you come down Falls Road, you would hit some lights, and the road's kind of windy, and there's a lot of people on that road, more than the way she was coming. So all she would just had to come up, go out, and make a left, and make another left into her neighborhood. But as I said initially at the start of this, it's just kind of strange because another car is coming, but you run up over the medium, and there's a medium on both sides of the street, unless the car was on the other side of the street. And so when you hit the medium, that was to the driver's side. That was to the left. If you look at any videos or picture, but if you then you swerve back and as you cross the intersection, you went down and hit the tree. And if we add to that, the car that she had, has that automatic braking if it think it's going to hit something. Now that kind of works and it kind of doesn't work. Now, I do know that a lot of times you have to engage the cruise control, from my understanding, and the cars that I've driven that had that. And then as you're driving, as you're getting close to something, the cruise controls will slow you down. But I could be wrong. So, she had a 2016. Maybe technology was a little different, but that car did have. I looked it up. That car did have the built-in automatic braking if you're about to hit something. So maybe that kicked in, and maybe that was a major factor into her thing. But then again, the road that she was on, if she was speeding, we don't know the whole deal. That road was no more than 35 miles an hour. So I mean, you break it down. You just how fast was she going that time of night? Remember, so it probably wasn't as much traffic as it was been as she came down Falls Road from the top, or either at some point she would have she would have came up Falls Road, but she didn't come. She was coming across kind of to get back on Falls Road and make a left on it, and then make another left into her neighborhood. And we don't know exactly where she was coming from. So let's say, like I said, if she was coming from out of the city, or she was coming from downtown Bethesda, is a different route she would have been taking to get out to the part of Potomac, to get out there to where she lived. Now, like I said, it's a whole bunch of stories. So I didn't hear anything about a breathalyzer, sobriety test. So how do we know that? Although the charges mean that they know the blood count, but sometimes the charges don't really mean that. They can just charge you with that to see what sticks, and then see what you're going to do in the face of that. But usually, in some cases, if you follow when people get DUIs, they say, well, they failed the sobriety test. I didn't hear those from any of these different sources. I haven't seen a police report at this point. But like you said, her story doesn't line up. It lines up that she got the tickets and stuff, but it doesn't line up that there was another car. And in that neighborhood, I'm pretty sure. So a lot of people don't know. A lot of times when the accident's kind of funny like this, and if you report it to the insurance company, and they you just mysteriously hit the side of just like you hit a mailbox, and they might ask you, "Oh, was you drinking?" And even though the police, you don't file a police report, the police didn't catch you or anything. So sometimes insurance companies, they can have some type of access to all the neighborhood cameras and stuff, and they'll investigate to follow your path and to see if they got you like doing something, they can determine if you're drinking or not, because we don't know with technology. And they look at the film, and then they can run something, and your blood thing is a little different, and it's showing that there's maybe an indication that you have been drinking or you're intoxicated. So I'm not an expert in that, but I do know that the neighborhood did say it is monitored. Um, it's kind of strange that she wasn't at least arrested, but maybe because she went to the hospital. Because they strange thing. If you look it up, if you, where the intersection where happened, the firehouse was like a mile away. I think it actually was on Falls Road. So they said that was dispatch and those things. We haven't heard. Well, the only person that really gave comment was Candace on Angela Yee's broadcast, for some reason she's co-hosting there. But she only one that has given comment. But other persons or individuals that are on her cast have not really given comment. So I guess we want to know, or I would like to know what is going to be the outcome of this. We know she's going to have to go to trial. From our understanding, this is her second DUI or DWI, and in Maryland, they don't like that. So she may. Question is, will she go to jail? Well, she may go to jail, because I'm just looking at past people, and they might suspend. Like I said, we don't know the whole situation. She said another car caused her, but that, okay, that's cool. But why was you drinking? Did they ask her, had you had some drinks? And she said yes. So a lot of times, some people when they get pulled over and if they're asked have they had a drink, a lot of people say no, and they don't take the sobriety test because that puts you in a different category of things. But take a higher risk if you're found guilty. I mean, there's no thing like the video of when the police show up, because I think uh, Montgomery County Police, I think they wear body cams, so there's just like a lot of gaps in here that ain't it's not adding up. Um, so of course and then then I think it was one report that the police pulled her over. So there's a lot of things that just don't add up. So, but then again, like I said, she goes to court and she's found guilty because you still have a right to a trial. That's another thing. So she goes to court and she's found guilty. If we reflect back on with another person that was kind of not nationally high profile, but kind of high profile, he had a second DUI. He was in his 60s. His name was Leon Harris. He, in this case, and the major thing that's with this DUI is I think it'd have been okay. I hate to say that, had they not hit anything. So Karen hit the tree, and then Leon hit another car. But in his and when he was convicted, well, I think he pled guilty, and so he was facing he was automatically if it's your second one you get a year, and they can recommend a year, but I think it's like the first one is 6 months in Maryland. So what they did was he got a year. They reduced it down. He had to do like 10 days. He was sentenced to 10 days, and then he could do each of those 10 days on the weekend, or he could do them all in a series. So I think he chose to do them on the weekend, and he was a news anchor. So in Karen's case, was she's even a higher profile, so everyone picked up the story. So let's just say who's Karen is. I mean, she was like one of the founding members of the show. She was as far as the brand of the show, she's supposed to be like, the ground down, respect her age, people related to her. So a lot of times, if you're in that position, sometimes you get made an example of, and I'm telling you, she could do some jail time. So and in the timing of, so um let's just say 6 weeks, and let's just say something don't go right and they extend it out for what she got money, they got to extend it out, and it goes like, okay, well we'll give you now, so they get 6 months before they go to trial. So we know they're gonna have to film at some point if she's resigned. So now they might extend out again. So then that's when oh, this might play out on the show. Her going to trial, her getting sentenced, and when she go to jail, they take it a day, or like I said, they work it out where because I didn't even know that they could do it on the weekends and stuff like that. But somehow they work it out. You turn yourself in late to go to jail. So unless they give her an ankle monitor. Okay, so now let's say if she's, like I said, I think she's going to get some time. That's just my opinion. Unless when they go to testimony, when they go to court, and there's some holes and some loophole or something, that's the only way she gonna get it. She gonna scave this, but she gonna court. She gonna go to court. I mean, sorry, she may go to jail. Let's just prepare for that. In strong capital MAY jail. All right. So, so say she go to jail for whatever reason, even if it's a day. When she get out, she's gonna be on probation for at least 3 years. I say I'm comparing this to the Leon Harris situation. Now, I re-looked at the Leon Harris situation, and what they did was they put his case in sub queria. So what it is, after he did his jail, he did his 3 months. Then when he's out of jail, he's gonna have to, he's gonna be on probation for 3 years. I'm sorry, he's still on probation probably. Then he has to be on the interlock for 3 years. then he has, of course, had. I'm gonna come back to something, but then he has to be on the interlock. So remember, the interlock is this device that allows you to start the car. So I want to see if the timing goes out, and then she's on the interlock, and then she has to be on the interlock for um, those 3 years, and they show it on the show. But regardless, we're going to see her with that interlock if they show her driving, regardless. And that's if she's on another show. So I'm just preparing for that. Unless she turns her license now. So the other option is you turn your license in for a period of time, um, and then you don't have to get the interlock. But so Ray gonna have to drive around, and this whole dynamic thing. Ray's an older guy, so he's probably depending on Karen to take her around. And this is just my opinion. I have no proof of this. So, um, it means you're gonna be more dependent on her taking around. Where it's gonna be the flip unless they hire somebody to be taking around in that aspect. Not unless she's gonna get an e-bike and something like that, scooter, ride up to the Safeway, get her stuff, come on back. Um, of course, she has her son that still lives in the area, and he can help her. But it's just gonna be difficult for her. So um, before what most people do before they go to court, they try to, if they got the lawyer, they try to get into some type of program to show that they have uh, change. So she's gonna have to get into some type of program. If she doesn't get into some type of program, she's still going to be in some type of program after the conviction. And like I said, this is the part no one's talking about. Oh, it's kind of strange, that some states are different. So Maryland, so like I said, it's a pretty strong case that she may have to do some jail time. She may. Um, yeah, especially this is from my understanding, this is her second DUI. I think the first one kind of got some type of fudgy thing, but that was the time when it was a different time of the law. So it might be off her record. I don't know if it got a sponge or whatever. But um, if it's not, like I said, the second one, they look at that. Oh, okay, well, okay. You had the first one, we let you go. And this is the second one. Montgomery County's like really well. Then trials can be tried in Montgomery County more than likely, and they're usually a little less forgiving for various reasons. Um, so I'm just hoping, she doesn't get any jail time. But she's if she doesn't get any jail time, she's going to be on probation more than a year, and she's going to like I said, she's going to have that interlock. So this is going to be, yes, no matter, we're going to see her blowing that interlock. If she's on probation for 3 years and the next season come around, we're going to see her blowing that interlock on TV because I'm pretty sure they're going to make that a storyline, and so when she's out, how's she going to be on probation and be seeing drinking? Because people can drink, but when you go to see the PO, they can test you on the spot, and then additionally, the PO can come at your house anytime to see what's going on. If there are any guns in the house, they have to be turned in. So it's going to be very, I mean, she has money, so it can be very uncomfortable. So, like I said, we make the comparison back to Leon Harris' case. So they had the subqueria so the judge can come back and kind of like knock stuff off his case once he does all his probation. So that could be the same thing with Karen. She might get probation, and they got money. The lawyer can write it, submit to the court, and they can keep writing the judge, and you know how that goes. And so everything can just be wiped away, but she still have to do that probation. She still have to have that interlock before everything is wiped away. It's like you gotta go down the path, then they'll say, okay, fine, we'll take this off. But that costs money. And so if the average person paid 10,000, because she got a little cake, she probably gonna have to pay 40,000 because the type of resources they got to put into the case and the strategy they're gonna have to use to get the things off. So yeah, that's how the people get the stuff taken off their license and things like that. In that aspect. So if we keep watching, more detail is going to come out. And like I said, everyone picked up the story when I meet everyone, just because that shows to me that her name and she as an individual was pretty popular for everyone to pick up the story, because it was just Joe Nobody. It was nothing really sensational about the story, but it was just because who she is. So they picked it up for the hot minute, um, especially locally and then also internationally. Um, Anytime TMZ, yeah, although they have local people here in this area, but they get the video, then they post the video um, within 8 hours of the first video showing up on the internet. We're not gonna go to who had the first video on the internet. It's very important, and they think it's people want to interested in the story. But um, we'll see, and we'll keep a on this end. People want to keep a close eye and monitor, because she's gonna have to pop up somewhere. She had probably got appearances and things like that that she has to go to. I'm pretty sure she hasn't canceled anything. Like I said, it's unfortunate it's happened. Um, just wondering why she didn't, you like to toss them down. And you had the resources. A lot of people, just pay for that Uber or Lyft, or you call Ray, tell him come pick you up, or maybe Ray was out of town. I mean, she has a son. I'm going, going in, come pick me up, drop me off, whatever. And I'm pretty sure she has friends too who wouldn't mind picking her up, especially if she was just down in Bethesda or Rockville, or maybe over in VA. But specifically if she was just in Bethesda and Rockville, I'm pretty sure it was no big deal. I mean, she was down in the city, and I can't see Karen taking the subway back and hopping in the cab at the subway stop and going out the top. I can't see that. That'd be all over the internet. But um, I can see her taking a Lyft or Uber, um, or some type of car service back for a drive that's probably like 10 miles. Um, in that aspect. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how she can maneuver with this. We'll see the type of support she gets from people. Another thing I want to point out is I noticed that a lot of media was going with the story initially, probably knowing, who gets a citation, several citations on whatever. And, but it seemed like the publicists are kind of trying to control this, like put it out, because they ain't released the DUI. Although a lot of media sources say the police said, well, they didn't release the DUI until they was officially published at the MoCo, not MoCo, so Maryland State System, and then they can say that she was officially charged. Um, but like I said, everything just seems like it's trying to be controlled, and it's now like I said, got the pictures of the scene, um, and and the DUI charge came in, and people, like I said, even a lot of the bloggers, they was accident, this. Then this is how tight they was watching it. Then, like I said, when one individual blogger posted up, I'm not gonna say who did it, but when they posted up, nah, yeah, she was an accident, but she got a DUI. They said do your research. Basically, the bomb say, "Hey, I ain't connected like that. I'm connected, but I ain't connected like that. That I'm gonna get this, so you can get it the same way I got it." So an hour after that, all the other bloggers came out. I'm talking about normally they ain't even, they don't really react like that. All the other bloggers came out, and oh, she got DUI. Oh, video drops. At that thing, 3 hours later, video drop of the accident scene. Right? Then after that, TMZ dropped their video in the in the morning, early morning, because what traffic probably flow through there. So early morning, they said, as soon as that sun come up, the local everybody told that local, you get your ass out there and get us that video and pictures. Well, video you can just scrape the pictures, but um, and here we are. And then after that, then we started to hear you know different information about the police. So right now, we just want to. It's probably take 6 weeks before the first posting of the case is not the case, but the trial date. Like I said, most times people like Karen they push it back for whatever reason, scheduling, lawyers got scheduling, things like that. So they're gonna push it back, and then it might get pushed back again, and then the third that went to 1, 2, and then they'll have a new date. So I'm thinking 6 months before she goes to trial for whatever reason, because she's probably going to go into rehab, um, allegedly go into rehab, show that to the court that she was in a program, and while she's in the program, she still gonna have to get the interlock if she wants to drive, unless she turns the license in. I hate to keep saying that, but there's no way around it. She's gonna have to get that interlock, which is like overcharge, should be supplemented. Um, what I mean by that, I guess it should go by your income. That's what. Let's just say it should go by your income. You pay, but it goes by your income. Then if she's on probation, she's gonna have to pay a probation fee. So it's gonna be a very interesting time. Then she has to air on the show. That's if she bring her back. She's probably gonna lose some fans because they're gonna see this as irresponsible. It's like similar if you child support. Ooh, you have to pay child support as if it's like, oh, you're not taking care of kids. No, child support kind of probably can help some people stay out of trouble and some other things. But it's a stigma associated with it. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, so she's gonna have that, um, and then it's gonna it's gonna be all in her business, watching. And then you go out, everybody gonna look every time you pick up a drink. Oh, yeah, I know she ain't supposed to be drinking. Ain't she on probation? uh, so did she drive here? How's she gonna get past the interlock? So the interlock in Maryland now they got the camera thing on it. It takes your picture and then uploads that shit as soon as you blow. So, um, so I hope the cast don't really be sticklers about it. They kind of just know it's there, but don't really say too much. But I'm pretty sure if she gets out of line, they gonna make little jokes, comments. Um, then after, say she only get a year or 6 months of probation, and it's over. Oh, you sure you ain't had enough, Karen? Because da, 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 da. Now we go back to when Monique hit something, and I think she admitted she was drinking. Mm, Um, so somehow she got out of that, and she didn't get charged or anything. Similar situation. So she just said she dozed off at the wheel. So you don't anyway. I can't believe they let her say that on the show. But um, why was she driving? Same situation. She could have had a driver. No need for you to drive. You're going to be drinking, and you got the resources to pay the Uber or Lyft. That's just my opinion. But so what Karen's probably going to learn is that she has to have a plan. She goes out and then she is driving or not driving. A lot of people don't know that, still taking a cab, sometimes if it's not that far, like a mile, it's a mile or 2 or 3 miles, still it's cheaper than the Uber or Lyft. And if you're in the hot zone, you can take the cab outside of the hot zone and take the Uber Lyft home if you live, further out. You ain't want y'all to pay that surge price. But you trying to your brain kicks in faster once you trying to save a few dollars, or you might be in a city somewhere. It's the surge zone, so you might take the, even if you have mass transit, out of the surge zone, and then once you're out of the surge zone, like I say, you call Uber or Lyft from there. So usually, surge zone is usually on a mile or two wide. So all you gotta do is get outside of that, and you call Uber or Lyft, and then the price is much cheaper because you didn't start out in the surge zone. I mean, it's still gonna be cheap, higher at night anyway, or especially on the weekends. Um, but this is not it's not a good time for. But leave in the comments, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification. Again, this is Bug News, and thank you very much.